Hey folks, Nerdarchist Dave here with this nerd.
Nerdarchist Ted, that's Nerdarchy, 4 nerds, by nerds, you know the deal.
Yeah, I'm feeling all frazzled and distraught now because we're running a few minutes behind and getting things set up. We were just shooting videos and doing general Nerdarchy things.
Absolutely.
So look, we have a 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons book with us.
What does that mean?
Are we switching gears?
Are we switching gears? We're going to go back and play 4th edition and make Anthony happy?
We've given up. We've totally given up on 5A, and we've gone to 4A. There will be dragon boobs everywhere. It's a thing. The other day, I think it was like comicbook.com, I seen an article shared about the Warlord, and Doug had mentioned it. And I was like, well, that's interesting, because that is actually one of the things I would have liked to see ported over from 4E to 5th edition was the Warlord. I thought it was a really cool concept. It was a very interesting way to go with things. I mean, in 4th edition, they definitely they reintroduced and made the idea of roles a core part of the game. And you had the leader role, the controller role, the striker role, and the tank role.
Right.
And the Warlord was a leader role, which kind of also had a lot to do with healing in 4E.
It was healing, and it definitely allowed for more battlefield manipulation than your typical fightery class. Obviously, this is going back a ways. I played a Warlord. I had a lot of fun with it. I don't remember a lot of specifics, and I haven't cracked the 4th edition Player's Handbook, in the intervening time. But we're talking about the Warlord because of that article, because over on Drive-Tru-RPG there is a Warlord class option that has been put out there.
Yeah, Robert Schwalb Entertainment. There's a link in the description. As with any link you ever find, there's a good possibility you might earn money if you click it and use that link to purchase anything. It is an affiliate link. It is $2.95. So I figured, we could bust out and look at some of the Warlord for free a little bit and see what it was. Inspiring Word was like one of their key features, and it was a minor action to do, which is basically would be a bonus action now. And what it basically is a heal, right? Your target can spend a healing surge and regain additional die 6 worth of hit points when you do it. And when you went up in level, it got more powerful, it got better. So basically, it was one of the early non-magic healers for D&D.
So I mean, the concept of what is damage always comes into question whenever we're talking about this kind of stuff. And obviously, if the fighter or the Warlord in this case is saying an encouraging word, he's helping you shake off some of the fatigue, some of the stress that is perceived as damage. It's not so much as, dude, you're bleeding out there. Let's give you a pep talk so you can
so those wounds will close. Yeah, I mean, hit points have always been a bit of an abstraction. So if we look at 4th edition and look at some of the at-will wills, it kind of like defines the class. Commander Strike is basically you can have another character take an attack instead of you. We've seen that a little bit with the Battlemaster. Right. And some other classes. Furious Smash is basically like an attack that you get to do. Viper Strike is again, it's more control effects as well as basically taking an attack. And then Wolf Pack Tactics is basically if you have an ally near you, you're more effective at attacking. So very much it is like the core abilities are based around working with your allies.
All right. So do we want to dive into, what is in this this document?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So now, Robert, Schwalb has some writing credits on other 5th edition products. Correct?
He's written a lot on Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know what he's done on 5e specifically.
Okay. I know I read it somewhere, and I'm not seeing this here. Maybe it was on
The product page.
More on the product page. But what you get in the actual download is you get a full class. It's not an archetype for fighter or paladin. It is an entirely level 1 to 20 class, and within it has 6 archetypes for the Warlord. So you're not one of these. You're being presented with more than what is in the player's handbook for your choices. So that in and of itself, to me, makes it worth the price that Drive-Thru is charging for it.
Well, also the art on here is really good. An artist that we've used for Save Our Dice is Kim Van Duen, and she's on here. I saw Robert Oducci listed as well as one of the play testers. So we know of some of these people for sure, and I think it's a great base. Like, do I love everything in here? No, if I'm being 100% honest, but there's definitely things that I do like. I think it's a good start if you don't know where to start and you want to add the Warlord back into 5A.
With some minor tweaks, I would allow this to be played in my games, but right off the bat, it tells you, this is a charisma-based warrior class. You definitely want either a high strength or dex, and you want a high charisma. Beyond that, obviously, you want to have a decent con score. You can basically chuck everything else, is what it's saying. To your own play style. You get into, it's a die 10 hit points. Just like any other martial class, you get all armor, all shields, simple and martial weapons. They still aren't listing that as all weapons, which makes me wonder what they're going to eventually do.
I think it's just leaving room in case they do something.
Yeah.
Not that they have the intent of doing it.
Right. So you've got no tool proficiencies, and here was my first eyebrow raise. When it gets to saving throws, it gets con and wisdom.
Why is not charisma one of them? If you're saying that's one of your important stats,
so to me that this breaks the typical save 5th edition saving throw mold. You have your good saves, which are Constitution, Wisdom, and Dexterity. These are what the largest percentage of your spells are going to target. Every other class that is out there only gets one of those 3, and it gets one of the other 3. Strength, intelligence, or charisma. So you're supposed to get one from each of the 2 categories. And yeah, you can get the proficiency in the others through a multitude of ways between classes, feats, what have you. I know some classes, hey, you get proficiency in all of them. Yay!
But that's generally, it's monk and it's a high level ability.
It's later level abilities. So you definitely have to be careful when you're giving early access to 2 good saves.
So I would say the earliest that tends to happen is that I know of. There might be others, but I think Ranger is the earliest it happens with Iron Mind, and you gain Wisdom as a good saving throw. And if you already have Wisdom as a good saving throw for whatever reason, you can substitute that for Intelligence or Charisma. Notice they went with 2 of the non-good saves as well. So and it's not unique. This isn't the only subclass that does that. There's definitely other ones that do. I don't know all of them off the top of my head.
And what level does that happen at?
Iron Mind happens at 7th level.
So that's 7th. That is still, pretty high level. You've had many classes, all classes really have, a feat option at that point in time that you could have taken it.
Right.
So, but I'm not going to dive too hard on that. I would just tweak that in my game. I would give them charisma and con would be a good fit for them.
It seems thematic, yeah.
So then we get into, you get 2 skills from athletics, history, insight, intimidation, medicine, perception, and persuasion. So a good mix of martial and mental skill choices. And then you actually get into the actual abilities. They have battlefield commands, and this is kind of like Bardic Inspiration, except you don't target one person. You just you do this thing, and you've got a D4 to give out to everybody, and they use it or not as they see fit.
Yeah, so it starts off lower than your bardic, but it goes up just like your bardic inspiration would, and like you said, there's a little bit more versatility on how to use it. And there's more people getting access to it.
So we get commanding presence, which this is going to be a large staple of this class. Your presence starts off at 10 feet and it gets bigger as you gain level. 30 feet at 10th, and 20th. At 20th level, it's up to 60, and there are a lot of building blocks off of this commanding presence. And in some cases, there's some, like, you really have to look at the layers of how the speech is going. And I would have liked to have had like a little shortcut on this within to make it easy to understand how it all affects. But while you're conscious and able to speak, friendly creatures within 10 feet of you deal extra damage with their weapon attacks. The extra damage is equal to your charisma modifier. So already, right off the bat, you're getting commanding presence right away. So if you've got a decent charisma, anyone fighting with you is getting bonuses to damage. So that's pretty handy.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not unthinkable to have a 16 charisma starting off. So an extra 3 points of damage at first level is a big deal.
As long as you're within 10 feet.
Yes. So, like, you literally have to be standing right behind your barbarian, paladin, or fighter, feeling like, hit him harder. I see as, like, the twerpy guy that always starts the fights, but doesn't do the fighting.
Get him!
Yeah.
So next we go to inspiring speech, and this is one that Dave and I were kind of debating off air a little bit ago. Starting at second level, while you're having a short rest, you can give a speech, and they get bonus. They get temporary hit points equal to your proficiency modifier. Not in any way, shape, or form game breaking. It's a minor version of the inspiring leader feat. So
it's just not very good, in my opinion. Like, as an ability, like, it's almost a ribbon ability, except for because it has such a strong mechanical tie to it. That makes it not a good ribbon ability, in my opinion. Like, I would have rather seen this be a stat plus or proficiency bonus, because really, before 5th level, 2 extra temporary hit points is barely worth noting, and at the utmost, at your highest levels, 6 extra hit points isn't even a blip. That's not even worth mentioning, almost.
So I could definitely see having charisma tied to this as well. Would not be in any way game breaking. I don't have a problem with it as is. Generally, it is weaker than other second level abilities. Let's face it. If you're going to compare the best ability in the game, Action Surge, they don't come anywhere near.
Or even the channel divinities, right? Like, the channel divinities are second level abilities generally, and they're way better. So yeah, it just doesn't really. I don't think it stacks up. I think this is one that could be tweaked. If I was going to use it in my own game, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? Just add your charisma modifier to that.
So I would have no problem with making that adjustment. Dave says, when you're at 17th level, an extra 11 hit points because you've maxed out your charisma, you've maxed out your proficiency modifier. What is 11 hit points?
That's not even a full hit.
That's
right?
not even a full hit. I mean, these things, enemies are easily hitting you for 30 points of damage. Woo, 11. Yeah.
Right. It's nice. I mean, to reduce the damage. I mean, across the whole party. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
And at the lower levels, it's going to be so much more useful. It might actually stop an attack from hurting you at all. So I think it's nice. But at just the proficiency modifier,
it's just not enough.
It seems pretty weak, yeah.
So the third level, you wind up getting into your military stratagems. This is your subclasses. And as I said, there's 6 different options for you to choose from in here, which is a strong go-to. When you got the player's handbook, then they typically had 2 to 3 to choose from. So getting the dive in on 6 right away, I was pretty happy with. 4th level, you wind up getting into your ability score adjustments just like any other class. So 4, 8, 12, 16, and 19 are your ability adjustments.
There's nothing new there. The next thing they get is extra attack because they are kind of a martial class. Here's the part where I'm not sure how I feel about this one.
Okay.
Because they actually get 3 attacks eventually. And it's on par with the fighter. They get them the same level as the fighter would get them. But predominantly for 5e, extra attacks beyond 2 is the purview of the fighter, without something special happening.
Right. So they do stop at 3, where the fighter does go to 4.
Yes.
So they didn't completely get there. But I mean, in regards to some things, like I definitely feel that the Warlord is weaker than some of the other classes that are out there. So by giving them the 3rd attack but not the 4th, they still give the fighter the ability to be the predominant melee class that it's supposed to be, and having the ability to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna do my my two attacks and still have 1 to be able to give to somebody else.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. At times, they are able to actually give away their attacks. That's actually one of the areas what I would like to see more of, to be honest with you.
So that actually gets into 6th level attack command. Whenever you would attack with a weapon, you can forgo making the attack to issue an attack command to one creature friendly to you that is within your commanding presence, as long as the target can hear you, and they can spend the reaction to do the attack.
So awesome if you have rogues in the party.
Awesome if you got rogues. Awesome if you got somebody who's going to be hitting harder than yourself. Which is one of the things that I like with, the actual commander strike from the Battle Master. Is what I like with, the mastermind being able to do, manipulations in that regards. And this is another one of those layers that you can put in there to give that barbarian an extra swing, give that rogue an extra, chance to hit. Now, the trick with this one is the person you're giving it to has to be within that commanding presence. So if at this level you still have to be within 10 feet, so you're probably not giving it to your rogue unless you specifically move to them to be like, hey, shoot that guy.
Well, I mean, you could be like, it will take more strategy on your part. If it's a ranged rogue, a lot easier. If the rogue is running, like doing their thing, and then they run behind you and hide behind you, then also possible.
All right.
But yes, it will definitely require some tactics and strategy.
So also at 6th level, you get Call to Arms. When you roll your initiative, you and each creature friendly to you that are within range of commanding presence, you roll a bonus die, and the die is the same as the one gained from your battlefield command feature. It's kind of nice. It's you add the number to your initiative check, so it's helpful if you want to get above an enemy in the initiative order. It really speaks to me into the regards of setting plans and being aware of how everyone is going to move around the battlefield. So to me, it's a mechanical manipulation of those conversations.
Absolutely. Good, you're doing such a good job. Keep reading.
10th level, you get Rouse the Troops. Essentially, this is another one of those ones where I like drop my jaw reading. Instead of taking a full, you can give a rousing speech, and over the course of a minute, of this speech, anyone who hears you can spend any number of hit dice and regain those hit points. And that's cool. I like that ability. You do have to do a long rest before you can do it again.
Short or long rest.
Short or long rest to get that back. But if anyone spends a hit die because of this, they have the ability to remove a single level of exhaustion from this effect. And they can't do so until they finish a long rest.
Yeah, you can only do it once a day, essentially.
Right. But this is short of spells, and I don't even know if spells get rid of exhaustion.
Greater restoration.
Okay. This is the only thing that I've seen that actually can get rid of exhaustion, and like to me, since
finally the berserker's not useless.
I wasn't looking at it from that regards. I was looking at it more from the DM side, since literally 6 layers of exhaustion is death, and 5 you're not going anywhere, so you're really not doing anything to acquire more. It makes it really difficult to work with. And if you want to play a game where exhaustion absolutely is a factor, having something like this in the game really has to change the strategy of the GM.
Well, I will say Greater Restoration is a 5th level spell, so you're really only getting this a level earlier. But it's nice because of the utility. I think it's kind of cool. You know, honestly, I would have liked to see more abilities similar to this that the Warlord could do during combat. Like, because that to me would feel a little bit more like the 4E Warlord, where they're you're getting hit points back from things that the Warlord is doing,
right,
and using the hit dice mechanic as well.
So, I'm not like oh my god, this is broken, but it definitely was like, holy crap, you're touching on exhaustion, and that's one of those scary lines in my opinion, but. It's a 10th level ability, so you are crossing into those double digit of levels. So fantastical abilities like that, I'm not dead set against.
And you're also doing it outside of combat too, so that's the other thing that takes away from the usefulness somewhat.
Well, you could do a rousing speech during combat and just have it take 10 rounds.
Well, there you go. What is he doing? Why does he keep talking? He's just standing there with that pose.
14th level, you get an advantageous action. Your experience in battle lets you help your companions more easily. And this is the one that I love, and I fell in love with this ability, and it makes me want to play a Warlord. You can use the help action as a bonus action. Oh my word, that is awesome. The help lets you do so much in D&D, and yet so few people do it because it's your action to help.
Yeah, it's usually not worth doing.
So when you take the help action, the target can benefit from one of the following effects you choose. So this is in addition to, hey, you're helping, so they're already going to get advantage on their attack roll. You can end the frightened condition on one creature within 30 feet that can hear you. So I'm standing next to Dave. We're fighting this monster.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
So I help you. You're going to get advantage on that. And the cleric that's back there who can't come up and heal because he's been made afraid, I can tell him, hey, get up here. Ends the condition. So doesn't have to be, on the person that you're doing it. You can grant one creature within 5 feet of you temporary hit points equal to your charisma modifier. So this is one of the extra things that could be like your healing. So it's granting more temporary hit points that they're doing as opposed to healing. But here is the actual. You touch a living creature that has 0 hit points, the creature regains 1 hit point. So you can get somebody back to their feet. And you're doing it without magical means. So it's like, hey, I'm going to help you. I touch the guy next to me. Bam. Awesome.
Yeah, it's some good combinations there.
So, to me, absolutely love that, but you got to get the 14th level in order to get that ability. But man, once you do.
So that's the kind of stuff I think I would have liked to rather seen throughout. And lots of trading your attack to do something. Mm-hmm. Like I would love to see that, where you're doing multiple things in a round, but you're trading your attacks to do them. And then to me, that would the higher extra attacks would feel better,
right?
Because then to me that would give more of that commanding presence, that more of the Warlord feel for the edition, where you're doing more stuff that involves the other characters on, in the adventuring party.
All right, so then we go to our pillar ability, level 20, Legendary Commander, 20th level, friendly creatures within range of your commanding presence, which is now up to 60 feet. Add your charisma modifier to their saving throws. Additionally, whenever a creature would roll a bonus die from your battlefield commander's class feature, the creature can roll an extra bonus die and use either result. So here you literally are, the legendary commander. They're adding your charisma modifier to all their saves. When they're rolling that die that you've given them, they get to roll 2 dice and choose the better. This is just it's. So
just
what
awesome. You're telling me at 20th level you get the paladin ability that they get at 6th? Is that what you're telling me? So that's what the core of it is. I mean, they just get it out to a further range.
So they it will, yeah, to an extent it is there. But they're adding other things to it as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the key capstone ability. There should be some stuff there.
So then we go into the 6 stratagems, or military stratagems. So the first one is the Daring Gambler, and this one is completely set up on the idea of, you risk great, you get a great reward, but sometimes you don't. So for 3rd level, you get Daring Assault. You can take a -5 penalty to hit on attack rolls to do an extra 2d6 damage. At 15th level, that will go up to 4d6. So, you have to be within the area of the commanding presence when you make this attack roll. So there's definitely some usages there. I can definitely see this stacking up, with people who are, going to take, Great Weapon Master, or, what is it? What's the missile one? Sharpshooter?
Sharpshooter, yes.
So, you could definitely double stack that if you're willing to risk,
a -10.
A -10. But, I mean, if you're doing, particular things, there's definitely times when, hey, that thing's got a low armor class and lots of hit points. And the monster manual is loaded with those kind of things.
Yeah, looking at you, zombies. Although, in all fairness, it is much easier to just be a rogue and have sharpshooter, though, than go that route, because...
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, the only difference is you could do it on every attack, I suppose, as opposed to the rogue that is only going to be able to do it once per round.
Right. So Desperate. The rest of their abilities I'm not as don't like as much as the Daring Assault because of the wordiness of some of them and the way it works out. But starting at 7th level, when you make a saving throw, you can choose to make the saving throw with advantage. But all your attack rolls are made with disadvantage until the end of your next turn. Once you use this feature, you have to do a short or long rest to use it again. It's not horrible. If you really need to pass this saving throw, you can suffer a round of, bad attacks. So, but if you're giving those attacks away to somebody else, then you don't have to worry about it. At 11th level, while you're conscious, an ally within range of your commanding presence feature that would make a saving throw can choose to make a saving throw with disadvantage. Don't know why you'd want to make this choice, but if you do, if you get a success on the saving throw would cause the ally to take half damage, the ally takes no damage on a successful save instead. So this is that risk-reward thing. I can do it with disadvantage, and if I still pass, I take no damage. I get evasion, but you're making the save with disadvantage. Never a good thing. Unless, you're doing that lucky thing that Ryan likes to do. Risky Gambit at 15th level. You can take a bonus action to choose one creature within range of your commanding presence. The target immediately provokes an attack of opportunity from one creature that can reach it. So essentially, you're out there fighting, and you call out a spot so that your ally can hit. It's kind of cool. If the creature makes the attack, the creature grants advantage on all attack rolls made against it until the start of your next turn. So again, it's a risky proposition, but hey, sometimes that one extra attack might mean the difference. And if you're giving it to your rogue,
always give it to the rogue. Although Paladin, I mean, with smites, can be pretty impressive as well. We got Anthony in the chat today.
So, lay the trap at 18th level. While you're conscious, whenever a creature makes an attack roll against you and misses, you and one creature of your choice make your next attack roll against the triggering creature with advantage before the end of your next turn. So this one's not too bad. It's like, hey, you got missed, bam, we're gonna jump on this guy. So that's the Daring Gambler.
So I would just go and just give the gist for each one of them instead of like the whole read through.
All right, sure. So the Golden General specializes in leadership, presentation, and command. Warlords who employ this stratagem lead by example. Their accomplishments inspire others to do the same, to push beyond the normal limitations and achieve what ordinary soldiers can't. So this is about doing extra damage. They get Inspiring Strike. Inspiring Presence, Glorious Sacrifice. So like they can do something with disadvantage to help out the allies. Portentous Escape. It kind of sounds like what it is. Then Rally the Troops. You can take an action to rally your companions, and they get a number of hit points regained equal twice the bonus die that you would grant from your presence. Your Horde Master. This one I really liked, but it takes a specific kind of character to do this because it's all about mobility. It's all about hit and run tactics. So if I were to play this kind of character, I would have to make sure that the party I'm playing with is able to handle what this guy can do, because if you don't, your abilities are going to be worthless. You've got the ability to give your allies extra movement. You're going to gain extra movement. As I said, you're getting hit and run tactics. So if you're not willing to, it even takes a GM's buy-in to play this kind of character properly. But if you're playing a jungle kind of game, if you're playing, a hex crawl type thing, this might be a really, fabulous, archetype to really look at.
No, I kind of want it from this one. I kind of wanted this one to be built similar to the Cavalier in Xanathar's Guide to Everything.
Okay.
Where it's basically had mounted options as well.
Okay.
Like I like the way they built the Cavalier, where they baked in a lot of the stuff from the Unearthed Arcana, which was originally the Knight. So it's like you get this thing you can do pretty much anytime, and then there's this application for being mounted as well. Mm-hmm. So that subclass, I've heard people say that one's the worst for fighter, but I think it's really strong and really a good one.
Right.
And I feel like the mounted options don't take anything from it because generally you can do the thing whether you're mounted or not.
Right.
So I kind of was hoping to see a little bit of that here.
Well, I was happy with it. It definitely, to me, it definitely reached out and said, this would be a lot of fun to play. But the hardest part, as I said, is going to be getting that buy-in, is getting everyone at the table to play that kind of game. If you look on to the next, you have the Resourceful Leader. This one is definitely more, looking at chance and circumstance. Few battle plans ever survive first contact with the enemy. Chance, circumstance, and other variables can disrupt even the most lopsided conflicts, turning what should have been an easy battle into a deadly one. So that's kind of the things that they look at, with that one. So your abilities are Find a Way, Shifting Resources, Trick Up Your Sleeve, Close Call, Timely Warning, and Hidden Resources. So I that one didn't stand out to me as much, but the thing that was another one that made me say, oh crap, it's 18th level when you get this, the Hidden Resources, but you can take a bonus action, and somebody can regain something that they would get back off of a rest, whether it be a racial or class feature. So this is going to give a warlock their spell slot back. This is going to give your fighter an action surge back.
It can be pretty strong. Yeah.
It is. It's an 18th level ability, so I'm not putting the hurt down on it for it, but it is really powerful. So I think it's cool. And they can do this a number of times a day equal to their charisma modifier. So if you've got a fighter, you got a warlock, you got, some other short rest, channel divinity, other powerful abilities that are going to be really useful. This guy is going to be incredibly helpful in that regards.
Yeah, I wonder how that works with things like key points. Right, for your monk, one of the things they get from a short rest is getting their key back, and that powers everything they do. So that's even stronger, in my opinion, than giving someone another action surge.
So it says you can take a bonus action to allow a creature to regain the use of a racial or class feature that would normally be regained by finishing a short rest. So I guess it would have to be spelled out more, because all right, your class feature, let's take action surge. Action surge at 18th level, fighters got 2 of them, right? Mm-hmm. So if if I choose action surge, do you get 1 back? Do you get 2?
Yeah, that's
You
what I
know,
mean.
so-
Do you get a key point back? How would you do it?
Yeah.
So I've seen people asking questions like, do they think that this product is worth buying?
Absolutely.
It's
But
$3. I mean, so it's 10 pages, $3. Obviously, a lot of work went into it. I would probably actually want to retool some things though.
so there's some definitely tweaking that could be done. To me, there's definitely some wording choices that I would want to get looked at. Like with 2 of the archetypes, both give a skill proficiency with expertise. One of them is worded, you gain proficiency in X skill. If you already have it, you get expertise. One of them is worded, you gain expertise in this skill. Like it's like was there a reason why they were worded differently? So I don't mean to to say anything bad about the product. I really like it. I would definitely play this. There's a handful of archetypes that I really like. And having enjoyed playing the class in earlier editions, it's cool to see it's there. But going through, I think it needs a 5th edition comb to rake through the rules and get things more in line. And then, as you said, those couple of tweaks with the saving throw, with that was it inspiring presence.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, even in the 5e rules from Watts, sometimes they're wishy-washy with things. Sometimes it's like, oh, do you already have this skill? Choose another.
Right.
And get this extra benefit with that one skill. Or it might be like, no, just this is what you get. That's it.
Right.
So I can see why, like, coming in with, as a third party, that it could be kind of confusing.
I can understand that. Stratagem of the Shrewd Commander. Warlords who master the stratagem demonstrate superior focus and attention to detail. So this is the one who's, going to be observing on the battlefield and, pointing out weaknesses that the enemies have. Their abilities are weakest link, attention to detail, commander's cunning, exploit the advantage, and no room for failure. The Supreme Tactician. This is your student of history who's wound up, reading books and, knows what's happened in the past. So, obviously, knowledge in history is important. At 7th level, they get the history skill, and they add the proficiency bonus doubled, so they get that expertise. But again, the way this one's worded versus the previous one was just kind of weird. So all of the things are about using tactics properly. So I really like it. It's cool.
I didn't regret spending $2.95. So there is that. Like I said, but anything from a third party, I would always recommend that most GMs, you're going to want to take a look at it and see how it meshes with your play style if you think it's going to work. Like, I will say, most of the things in here to me were, oh, this could be a little stronger. Very rarely did I go, this is overpowered and this is going to unbalance your game. The only thing that was like, okay, this doesn't really jive, and that was the saving throw choices, where it's like, yeah, it should be charisma and either Constitution or Wisdom, depending on what bet you want to go with.
Right.
Maybe you could add a third one in later, but the way 5e works, you wouldn't start out with 2 good saves.
Right. So that was my biggest, gur at it. But if somebody said, hey, I want to play this, in a one shot, I'd let them run it as is. If they want to play it in a game, I'd be like, all right, we need to make a tweak or 2.
Yeah, and it literally would be that. It'd be a tweak or 2. And I feel like most of my tweaks would be like actually adding things to some areas that I thought were weak, is all. I don't know that it would be that I would have done the Warlord the same way. But like I said, 10 pages, they pack a lot of stuff in there. It's well done.
I mean, the last 2 pages, one is an advertisement for something else, and then, one page is, the OGL. So it's really 8 pages of text.
So Warlord, it's out there if you want to add it into your game and you don't want to do all the work yourself. That's the biggest thing to me is my takeaway is like, if I wanted to add the Warlord, I'm like, there's enough here done where you could do like minimum work and be like, boom, right in your game. Or you could drop it in the way it is.
Absolutely. For me, and I think, conversations that we've had off air, like, we'd much rather design subclasses than full classes.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more work when you want to do all of it. So all in all, I give it a thumbs up. Highly recommend that if you have any desire to play a Warlord or run a Warlord in your games, that's the one that one's out there. Go check it out.
So Roger Babin, hello. Isn't there a Warlord subclass before they added this? I don't know that there is. I mean, not an official one, that's for sure. I don't know if there's another third-party product where they did create a Warlord.
I think the closest to a Warlord was like the Paladin of Conquest.
Yeah, but even that wasn't like
that wasn't the Warlord from 4th edition, but that would be a Warlord.
Yeah.
That's the joke I was making.
Went right over my head. So there's also a lot of discussion over minis or not minis, and the use of candy as minis. And Doug's patented maneuver is to use the least flavorful choices as your big bad, so they want to attack them the least. Psychological warfare.
So do you have to eat what you kill? Is that the way that works? Like
maybe black jelly beans for the monsters you want.
That's what
to survive.
James was saying that he uses jelly beans.
I know.
Well, because in that regards, you'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go get those. Every flavor beans, and be like, okay, you don't know what you're gonna get.
Everything's disgusting. Damn potheads. Black licorice and black jelly beans is like the worst flavor ever. A true Satanist developed that flavor. That's all I can say.
So I mean,
it's like every 100 people you meet, like one person will like that flavor.
We've shared the stories where we used the old Kit Kats as walls, dungeon walls in a terrain. But we never.
Well, the problem with that is Kit Kats taste good if people like Kit Kats and they want to eat them. Just not those ones. Just not those ones. They'd been hanging around for a while.
Yeah, but every once in a while, somebody new shows up at the table. Oh, can I have one? Sure.
I would like to see. You know who I'd like to see take a crack at a 5e Warlord? Anthony, since he was hanging out in the chat earlier. I would like to see what his rendition of it would look like. Plus, he also played a lot of 4E compared to us as well.
Well, I was talking to Anthony, this past week, and when he played in Doug's Spelljammer game, he actually wrote his own subclass for Warlock.
Okay.
So I didn't know if you were aware of that.
But... Oh yeah. His was like kind of based off of oozes.
Yes.
And not having a spine, I think.
So I recently, like I watched, some of the game, and I was talking to Doug, I was talking to Anthony about it, and I really liked, what he had put together. So I'm like, what, we might do something with that in the future. But it started because I am looking at. Doing something with oozes in, a future game. So,
yeah, I see you're solidifying and forming up what that future game is going to look like. You're talking about a 12 session arc now.
So that is what we're talking about. Right now, I don't believe we're actually gonna, deal with bothering to record and post that game, but it could be something that we talk about. Kind of a post-game type scenario. But it looks like I've got, 4, maybe 5 players. I got somebody who might be able to join the game, but she wouldn't be able to do so until April. So, who knows?
Gas Giant, unless we have 300 to 400 people in chat, the 1 to 100 ratio doesn't hold up. We just we just attract a absorbent amount of evil people, I guess, with dark souls to match their favorite flavor of licorice.
Oh, you can't say it like that because you for the most part have claimed that you've got a dark soul. So and you don't.
No, I have no soul.
You have no soul.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Did somebody put it in a jar?
Someone might have put it in a jar. It's sitting on a shelf someplace.
So we will throw out there that as we're getting close to 3 o'clock, there is the after show for those who are actually patrons of ours. Look for that in the in the Patreon post. If you're was it $3?
Yeah, you have to log in over on Patreon, and there will be a post that you can click, and it'll take you to the after show.
We have your game that we're playing in tonight.
Oh, Ted did try and cancel it though.
I did not try and cancel it. I was worried about the weather, and I had wrong information.
Bad intel. Your scouting, your scouting had failed. There was definitely a crit fail.
That's fine. You're running the fan game tomorrow.
Next week.
Next week, okay. But next Friday is the RPG Crate game. Who have been following along on that.
I almost said the wrong one. It was on the tip of my tongue. So same crew, right? Playing in the
it's
RPG Crate.
It's an ongoing game. Characters are now going to be 5th level. So that has definitely become quite enjoyable to do. Now that it's an actual campaign with ongoing effects and what have you. As long as they've actually put it in there, if you have any desire to see me as a player, I am playing in the Mini Terrain Domain game every Thursday night. So I'll be adding that to the weekly linkages.
Totally deleted that link out of there. It's gone. No, it's in there. You can find Ted over on the Mini Terrain game. You're playing with a bunch of cool people over there. Also, the Saver Dice games, they're in there as well for people to check out. So you can see us playing games elsewhere. I don't know, 2019, we might just look for more stream games to play in. Who knows what we're going to do? It's a mystery to us even.
But DM Scotty will be returning this Thursday night. Quite happy to actually be...
With bionic eyes.
With bionic eyes. He's going to shoot lasers through the computer at all of us.
Yeah, man, that guy's had a lot of... has a lot of issues with his eyes. Had to have a lot of surgeries, and I know, and he's talked about it publicly a lot. So, like where he had to lay down a lot, definitely couldn't look at screens and stuff like that. So
yeah, with the first
first one was really bad.
Was really bad, and he had to go a while where it was like anything with a screen, it was just like nope. Can't look at it, can't touch it. Had to lay face down for a while in recovery.
Or his eyes would explode or something.
But I mean, he was supposed to be joining the game a week and a half ago for session 1, and we realized leading into it's like, yeah, that ain't gonna happen. I don't, he told us I don't know when I'm gonna be able to join. So when all of a sudden he popped back up in the chat, I'm like, oh my God, we can see him. Does that mean we'll get him? And we thought there was the chance of him joining. Just this past Thursday for session 2, and that didn't happen. So he told us that he'll be joining next week.
Soon.
So I will be getting and Friday next week.
How many sessions are you guys? You said that's session 3 coming up, or
session 3 is coming up. Yep.
Okay.
So the way he works it goes up. We play on Twitch, and then he'll drop it. On the weekend after. And then it'll wind up appearing on our list the following weekend.
With DM Scotty, how many players is that?
When I joined, I was player 5.
So 6 players?
No.
So there will be 6 players?
No, there's five players. It's DM Scotty,
okay.
Avi from the Crafting Muse, Megan from Dice on Ice, Jeremy from Erasmus Expeditions, and then Jake is a GM.
Dice on Ice, that just makes me think of the Ice Capades. I don't know why. Well, that'd be cool once you guys hit full staff. 6 players is a lot though for a stream game.
Well, it's 5 players and 1 GM.
Okay, I keep adding. I
don't know why.
I don't know. I'm adding DM Sky at the beginning and the end. He's the alpha and the omega.
Well, DM Scotty is awesome. You know, but it'll be fun to get in there and see what happens. It's definitely been a slow build. We had a little bit of technical issues, and we kind of closed up shop early on Thursday. But it's a very heavy role play party, which I really enjoy. All of this past Thursdays, like, it was just talking. There was no combat.
Will there be any duets with you and V?
Duets? I don't think so.
Just checking.
I'm not a singer.
I know she's. I know she has busted out into song.
She has, and she's actually got a really good voice. And like at first, she was just doing little things, and like as they got to the the last couple sessions, all of a sudden she starts she goes on like the whole solo, and I'm like, oh crap, damn. So I was impressed.
I think she like. I saw it somewhere where she put up a video of her singing, and it was for the game, but it wasn't from the game.
Oh, okay.
Like I guess she did a separate thing for either her own channel or Facebook or whatever. So I was impressed. Plus, singing a cappella, that takes a lot of guts anyway. So it was impressive.
Yeah, I am not a good singer, and I'm just going to throw that out there. I do enjoy singing, but I sing along to like the radio or other things. But if I don't have a vocal accompaniment, I'm screwed. I got no chances of being anywhere close to where I need to be.
I'll take your word for it, man.
Yeah, don't worry. I wasn't gonna try and either torture them or you. So.
Maybe. Hey, folks, you want to hear Ted sing something to you?
Please put no.
Oh man, good times. We've had I'd say over the years we've had a couple bards break out into song. Not too many. It's been known to happen.
It has been known to happen. It's been much more with Johnny than anybody else.
Yeah, I've been in a couple streamed games where it happens. Jacob from XP to level 3, he'll do songs in his videos a lot of times. He'll write and sing.
Okay.
Which are pretty fun. Who else? Rudy has been known to break out into song.
Okay.
Andrew Armstrong, he was in the Gen Con game with me. He actually wrote a song and sung it during the.
Oh wow.
Yeah, during the stream game that we did there. I found that was impressive. Also, Rudy is like, if you're a bard in my games, you have to sing, which I actually disagree with as a GM and a player. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, note to self: never being a bard in Rudy's game.
Well, the bard in my my game with the kids, he likes vicious mockery, so he comes with a book of like fantasy appropriate jokes or quips or teases or what have you. So he's done vicious mockery and Tasha City's laughter. So like he plays up that angle of the bard, and my son adores it. Like he's like, that is the best.
Do you have any favorites?
Nothing that I can recall.
Or are they all just basically like dad jokes?
They're probably along the lines of dad jokes and that kind of stuff, which anyone who knows my level of humor definitely knows that I dig that kind of stuff. Yeah, we're supposed to be playing this Monday, so we'll.
That is the rumor that I also heard, since my son's in your game.
Yeah, it was awesome. When he joined last session, I did a quite unique appearance. He was stuck in a gelatinous cube.
Nice. That's what. Sometimes I would really just like to stick my kids in gelatinous cubes. Some may call that bad parenting. I don't know.
But yeah, they were. Everybody was pretty shocked of like that has got to be the most unique party intro. But I said like he was playing a barbarian. He drank something. He didn't know what it was that he had found,
and woke up in a gelatinous cube, as you do. You know you had a good night out when you wake up in a gelatinous cube. I'm just saying.
Well, he drank a potion that wound up giving him acid immunity, so he didn't take any damage from being in the cube.
You're too nice. You should have damaged him.
Didn't want to be like, all right, you're gonna die because the party doesn't save you.
Well, he just got a new girlfriend, and the dad's supposed to be dropping him off.
Ah, okay.
And I was like, I'm not gonna be there. So I told Steph, my wife, his sister, I was like, I'm not gonna be there, but if you want to pass along the message and be like, look, David's 18, so you can punch him in the face if you feel you need to. I try to make sure I scare all the boys that come around to talk to my daughter appropriately. So I feel like I would be a hypocrite if I didn't expect the same treatment for my own son.
Right.
So there you go. Life lessons from Nerdarchy.
Life lessons from Nerdarchist Dave.
Well, wait till the boys start coming around for your daughter.
She'll kick their ass.
I don't know.
So there you go. Gaming with the kids on Monday, gaming with the mini terrain on Thursday, gaming with the RPG crate, which is also going to incorporate Jake, on Friday.
I don't think we're doing our tour game on Tuesday this week. If you folks are following along, that's been a lot of fun. So that's we're playing Torg Eternity, not Dungeons and Dragons, and that has been Daryl Hayes has been he's one of the head writers on that. He took over for Sean Hensley. Sean Hensley, hopefully I'm saying his last name right. I might be butchering it. It might be Hennessy. I don't remember off the top of my head, but he did Savage Worlds.
Okay.
Well, he originally worked on Torg Eternity, but when they redid it, they brought him back in. So, like, a lot of the things in Savage Worlds is actually from Torg, and then, like, Torg now has a lot of things from Savage Worlds, because the same people worked on it. Well, Daryl is the one that's the head writer now, and, he's been running a game for us, which has been a lot of fun. It's more, so the concept is, like, all these different, like, genres and worlds have kind of, like, collided.
Okay.
Not in the Gamma World sense, but like there's areas that are just still like what they call core Earth and in what you would expect it to be. But there's other places where it's very fantasy. The one character that was in the game earlier was like would be like a Victorian era monster hunter type character.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like and my first character was Anton, who's like basically a Russian but with a cyber arm. And because Russia got invaded by techno demons essentially, and they were one of the few to actually like destroy one of these bridges that were kind of like bringing things in, because the Russians were the only ones willing to nuke their own people.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. But now I'm currently playing a sexy dwarven lady.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and essentially, it's essentially like magic power armor. So like it's kind of like all over with the type of characters that you can play.
You've crossed that boundary.
Well, there are pre-gens, and there was a list of pre-gens. I was like, all right, I'll take the dwarf.
Okay.
And I did cross the boundary. And so basically what happens is like you have these benefits you get to spend. They're called possibilities, and they represent like all the possible things that could happen, all the possible dimensions, right? So if you say something bad were to happen and you spend a possibility to change it, well, you literally just found basically another dimension where things played out differently and like transpose it here. So the game has like a lot of stuff like that going on. But I'm in it. Jacob from XP to level 3, Cody from taking 20, Jeremy Pillowpal is in it as well. So that crew's a lot of fun. So like we have a lizard folk person, we've got like a surfer California guy, we've got the dwarf, and then we have a detective type character. So
wow.
It's like all over the place.
That's
kill things with a wooden stick, or shoot them with a rocket launcher, or hit it with me axe. It's all over. So that's the Tuesday game we've been running. I think we've got 11 sessions that are up over on Saver Dice. It's been a lot of fun.
So Sasquatch says, "What is Torg?" Torg is a bard, a half-elven bard in your game.
I don't think that's what they mean. Torg Eternity is just another role-playing game. If you want to check it out, check out Saver Dice. There should be a playlist over there where you can see me playing Torg Eternity. And it's kind of cool because it's got the possibilities, which are just bennies, but they're like poker chits that you get. There's cards. There's a card component to it. So it's a resource that you can spend, but then it also has exploding dice and is a D20.
Nice.
Dice explode on 10s and 20s.
Okay.
You by spending bennies, you basically get to it's almost like a die explodes for you.
Oh, nice.
So you get to kind of re-roll and add to it. So it's kind of cool. It gives you more things that you can kind of do, more resource management, and you have two pools, right? You have like your hand of cards and you have your pool of cards. So when combat starts, you start the round, and at the end you get to put a card in your pool. You can only play cards from your pool. You can trade them back and forth with everyone else. So in theory, as the fight gets longer, you get stronger.
Okay.
And then there's approved actions every turn, and when you do one of those, if you succeed, you get to draw another card into your hand, so you can kind of keep the cards flowing.
Okay.
It's a lot different. I don't think it's like a great game for streaming because there's a lot of moving parts, but I think it'd be a really fun game at the table because it's actually like way more complicated to explain than it plays.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
So go over to Saber Dice and watch them play Torg Eternity.
I didn't know I was going to go on a Torg side quest. But
Torg Tirade.
Torg Tirade, yeah, absolutely.
So it is already 3:06. I think we've done our hour here.
We have. So if you want more Nerdarchy, if you haven't had enough, go over to the Patreon. If you're not a patron, you can just join the Patreon at the $3 level and look for that post. It will be scheduled for 3:30, but we usually start before 3:30. It's basically however long it takes me to set it up and put it over there. So with that, until next time, stay nerdy.
Bye, everybody.
Sing, Ted, sing.